Hey guys, it's Mike, and we're starting the tutorial for our final character model. And like I said, you need your designs ready to go because we need to get those into Maya so we can start modeling to something with some nice reference. Because reference, no, regardless of what art form you guys are doing, it's super important, absolutely important. Something to note is that the front and back sides, so like the back and then the front, those need to align the most closely. Like see how close that silhouette is to the front version, right? And that's because they need to line up. Because if you're in the front version, you're moving around verts and stuff, and then you notice that something's off. When you move to the back version, it's because these didn't line up. And you could go back into the drawing and solve that problem, but like I think as 3D artists, it's very important to find ways to solve it in 3D space and not have to like go back. Though in a professional environment, you would probably send stuff back if it's not completely drawn out uh, perfectly like that. So I have these three aligned on here, right? And then I need to go in and I need to crop this. Now I'm going to keep a square ratio because we're going to apply this to a square plane, right? And so if I hold shift while I drag this, that should drag out into a nice square. And let's try to get it to have the middle as close to the middle as possible. If it's off, that's fine. We can solve it in Maya with the technique I'm going to show you. Uh, if you research this process, you're probably going to find a lot of references for like image planes. And image planes can work fine, but I find that they're a little bit more restrictive in terms of how they're implemented. So I like to just apply these to a good old-fashioned plane in Maya instead and model from there. So I have these cropped now. Now I need to save them out. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and Proceed Designs, grab Design, Front. And I'm going to do a PNG. PNGs are pretty standard. Okay. And JPEGs are a pretty lossy type of file. Like it has a lot of compression in it. Side. Whoops, cancel, because I was saving that as a PSD still. Save as PNG. There we go. And then save as back PNG. Save. Okay, so we have that saved out now. Now back in Maya, this is when we really begin. All right, so first step, guys, not make the planes, but instead go to this stupid Preferences tab. Make sure you are working in Settings, Linear, Meteor. That's going to solve more issues down the line, but honestly for this class, it might not matter because you notice how the grid grew enormously. It's because we're now working in meters, and if you're familiar with meters, you know that's more of a human type measurement rather than like centimeters. Humans aren't like, I know you probably measure your height in centimeters if you're from the UK or literally any other part of the world, but people are not under a meter usually, unless you're a child. So we have this plane, and I'm going to use our new tool of J to rotate it to fit there. You'll notice that the rotation axis is all messed up now, so I'm going to go and modify, freeze transformations. Oh, I don't have everything checked in here. So I'm resetting the settings, freeze transformations, that's going to pop up straight again. And for the character models, for the character models, we need to model it with their feet standing on this ground plane, right? Like we need to imagine everything above this grid as real space we can stand in, and we're going to model our characters to be above it. But right now we need to align our images. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this once, duplicate it twice. So now in Outliner, you'll see I have 3 planes. Now in these planes, we need to apply a new material. So you'll see in the material attributes, if I open up the material attributes, you've seen this panel before. We've all applied the materials. So we need to assign a new material. I'm going to go with Lambert because I don't want any sort of shine on this. And I'm going to go to File, Image Name, and then I'm going to navigate back to that folder. Oh man, that's going to be my Z drive, Unity, PCs, Grandma Designs, Front. Okay, so I applied it, and then I have to press 6 in order to see it. So there we go. 1 plane done. Not completely done, but we're getting there. Now this one, we're going to need to rotate to the side. And this is going to be our side panel. And for this one, we're going to rotate it 180. And excuse me. Oh, that was translating. My bad. I was like, what is happening? So I'm rotating that 180, and you'll see that black side means the back. So always keep your character facing Z-axis forward. Cover that in the other video, but for short, always have. You see how when I click this, the Z is facing this way. That's the way the character should be facing. So I'm going to go under this, assign a new material, another Lambert. Then I'm going to go to its color tab, click the little checker, go into File, apply the back. You'll see that it appears there. Then I'm going to move this back into center. Recenter that. I'm going to move it over here. Assign new material, Lambert. And then we're going to assign a new file to that, same as the others, and do the side. So now we got to align this to exactly where we want to model our character. So I'm going to go into our front camera, and you'll see that I'm just only seeing, when I try to align it, I'm just seeing this blackness, right? And I don't really want to work that way because I literally won't be able to see the model. So we can't be working that way. So what I need to do is, while having all of these selected, if I go to Display, Polygons, then Backface Culling, you'll notice now when I move the camera around, you can see straight through them. Like it just doesn't even, the computer realizes that it's looking at the back side of a face and then just says, nah man, that ain't me. And it's just not going to draw those at all for you, which is perfect for our circumstances. So now, back in this view, you'll see it's gray. You're like, why is that gray now? Where'd my texture go? It's still on there. As you can see, it's still on the object. You just need to press 6 in this view, because this view can have all the 4, 5, and 6, just like the other views. So what we need to do is move this character up to where her feet align with the bottom, and I need to move it. She's like not quite centered. I drew it a little bit wonky, but we're gonna solve that in 3D, right, when we're working. But I would like to move her a little bit closer. So I'm gonna go to World, because right now, if I hold W and hold left click, I'm in an object. And when I move, it doesn't move all of them. But when I'm in World, you'll see, okay, I was just making sure that this back one didn't fly out. You'll see that all of them move. And you have to do this while the front and back are selected, otherwise you're going to get some weird skewing, you know. Like this one would be a little bit off center there, and then you're not going to get good results. So we need to line up all of these, and they're set. We're good to start modeling now. However, when I go into this view and I click around, you'll see that I'm clicking on this image plane. And that's no good. Like, that's just annoying. Like, we need to be able to click our model, because we're going to be building our model in this center grid at 0. So we need to go to channel box, and I'm going to click this button to add all selected objects to a new layer and create the layer. So we're going to do that. So now we can turn them off altogether, and then we can press that last button to make it R so they're referenced, and we can no longer click on them. So we're set to go, guys. This is awesome. We're ready. So now the last step is to model everything. No, I'm kidding. So like when you're modeling, you're going to be wanting to lay the verts out where you need them, right? But if you're in this view and you're like trying to model like this sash, right? That's going to be hard because you have this object in front of you. But we can, so you basically need to add some transparency to that so you can see through it and model with your reference. So what we need to do is go into assign new material, Lambert. I'm going to do another Lambert just because I don't need any fancy stuff right now while I'm modeling, and you can always change the material later, right? So I'm going to go into Lambert, and right under color is a little bit of transparency. You see? So now with that activated, I can go into my side views. Let's press 6 on this. I'm going to press F to focus in the middle. I can just start scaling this cube down. Go into my modeling toolkit. This is going to end up being the armhole. Right there. And I just need to start moving these verts into position, guys. And always start super light. You never want to start with a super dense mesh. Like, you're gonna, if you remember the Nintendo 64 era, like the PS1 era, like that's what you want to start with, you know, like that level of like where you can just basically see the polys. Like that's gonna be a nice level to start at, because it's always easier to work and fix things, and we're gonna make a lot of mistakes on the way, but with a low poly count, or in other words, a low amount of faces, we'll make it a lot easier on ourselves. And you go into this view. Now you align that. You start moving these ones. I'm going to scale these inward. I might as well show it to you. So at this point, this is going to be more in the modeling video, but this is the type of stuff that we start using symmetry for. So like I select object X, and then now the left and right select each other. And I'm going to do a multi-cut down the middle. And this is when we start the real modeling, guys. I hope you're ready, because it's going to be great. So yeah, that's the intro to this, setting up like images and stuff. And you'll notice that some of this stuff is offset, like some of this geo needs to move in here, and you're going to need to just basically bounce back between perspective views and these orthographic views. Like this is an orthographic camera, this is a perspective camera. You're going to need to bounce back between them to kind of figure out what you need to do, you know. And that's where I find the true artistry of modeling comes into play. Is trying to figure out exactly where those points lie in order to make a nice, appealing shape in 3D space. But yeah, so that's how we start off, guys. Thanks for watching.